Hey guy, welcome back to another video. It's not Robin this time. This time it's RP Uta. I saw like a video on this, a York City video, and I'm like, I'm a believer now. And the reason why is literally because of this one card. This one card and then all the top end Uta got in '09. She technically had this 10 drop Shanks, but like the other two are just kind of cracked. Plus Beckman's pretty good. So I'm just gonna do a quick breakdown of the deck. It's not all that complicated because like you sort of have a one-track game plan, and that's sort of get to these cards as soon as possible. But here's how you do it. Uta, actually, I'll explain the deck first. Otama is just a 2K. It's a 2K that does minus 2K power. That's just way too good, especially in a deck with Beckman and I guess this doesn't count, but more so Beckman. And also it's just a 2K, so that's pretty good. Shanks pop a 10K, which again is pretty good for most cards in the deck, and especially when you get your Shanks on board, you can probably start to pop like 12Ks as well. Like if you make it late, if you get too late into the game. Shariah, iffy blocker. I like the idea, but at least it's still a film. Note that leader effect, you have to trash a film card from your hand to ramp. It does do minus 2k on your opponent, but the most important effect is to ramp. So that's why Shirai is here. He's also a pretty good blocker. And especially with the '09 meta in my head, the leaders are usually 5k, but I think RP Luffy is gonna sort of make a comeback just a little. Maybe not like top tier meta, but at least like being a threat at your local. So I think this is a good tech to put in. Also, Black Yellow Luffy is also going to be a thing still. Douglas Bullet. Honestly, I don't have that much use for this card as long as it's a film. I do use it in some matches I didn't record. But honestly, you're probably going to use this as one of your ramp cards, if not a counter. Very rarely you actually use him as a blocker. Barcat or Baccarat, sorry, I keep reading as Barcat. This card is super good. It's also that not a lot of people expect it. It's a blocker, 3-drop blocker, so it's a goodish play. But also you can trash a card from your hand and give your leader and character 2k power. So it's essentially a free 2k out of anything. And it's once per turn. It's also during the battle. I would have liked it if it was per turn, but it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. It's a 3 cost. Uta, this is your red hair pirate searcher. I keep forgetting that's what it's called. So this literally just searches out your Rush Shanks and your Beckman. I would like to break the ratio a little bit more just to justify this card. So there's that. The Shanks, the '09 Shanks, super important in this deck just because your end game typically ends with you flooding the board with this, which is pretty funny in my opinion. This sort of acts as your mid game, but like your mid game lasts for like 1 turn, just because you just pop anything on their board. Rogers, I mean, you can't. This card's too good not to run. At the very least, it's a counter or a rush, or honestly like a 2k from Baccarat. So whatever. I'll explain Gil Tesoro. I keep saying Tereso. Gil Tesoro. I'll explain him later. Shiki, another film character again. It's a blocker. It's also it's a late game cycle. As you can see, if your board has 8 more done, draw 1 card, then trash 1 card. Ein, this card is sick. It's more sick than people realize, especially in this deck. I'll tell you why. Bonifesta. This card is just your film searcher and then your 0 cost counter. Okay, so to explain like some of the main cards in this deck, obviously this one is the pop. This is the power decrease plus rush. This is your, again, mid game pop. And then this is your end game. Okay, so to explain Gil Tesoro, so this card's kind of sick. I didn't realize how sick it was until I saw it in someone else's video. I believe it was York's video. But so you could trash this card. You could trash your Shariah. You could trash your Baccarat. You could trash your Searcher Uta. Bonifesta, but most importantly Shiki. Shiki and Baccarat most of the time. But this guy, -1 Don. You can add 2 4 cost lower film type characters into your hand from your trash. So if you lose one of these blockers, or if you use them as counter, you could just get them back. So like if you literally have none of your top end, which I'll be honest, it is likely that you don't have your top end. You could sort of just stall with this card, because what you do at your 10 Dawn turn is just so 5 Dawn -1, so you get back Shiki and Baccarat, and then you just play out 2 blockers. And one of the blockers is a cycle, so again, you're going through your deck to try and get one of your boss cards, and then you just get a free 2k counter every turn. Granted that you are losing hand, but it is still a blocker and it is still a 2k, so that's pretty good. I'm not entirely sure if we got a game where we use her ability, but I know I got it a lot of times in some of my non-recorded matches. Buenafesta is pretty self-explanatory. Most of our deck is film. We want to search film. This one's a bit iffy to me, just because I'm running 4 of this. There's not that much red hair pirates on the sim. I'm sure there's more good ones. Like, it's just not available on the sim, so I'll just use this for now. It has won me a lot of games already, so I'm not really complaining. Beckman, self-explanatory. KO, 6k or less. Shanks, self-explanatory. Everybody, -1k. And Goldie Rogers, kind of self-explanatory. Everybody knows this card. If you or your opponent are at 0 life and they use a blocker, you win. Still have not used that effect yet, but it's still funny to like play this card in my opinion. Okay, so to explain how this sort of deck list works, or what you want to do ideally, so Uta wants to go second. Here's why. So second, you could either play a searcher or play nothing. Ideally, you're mulling for Ein, Buenafesta, Uta Searcher, or a Shanks. Here's the reason why. I'll explain Ein last. Shanks is self-explanatory. It's one of the least searchable cards along with this one. Actually, you kind of want to mull for one of these, actually. The reason why you want to mull for one of this is these 2 cards are 2 of the least searchable cards. Uta, it's a top 5 searcher. The issue is, like, most of our deck, so 10 cards out of 50 are film. So you're probably going to whiff, which is why you want like at least one of these 2 in your mulled hand. Buenafesta, you're searching for either a film card to trash for a leader effect, or you're looking for Ein. And this is where the Ein play comes in. So that's your 2 Dawn turn. On your next turn, you're at 4 Dawn. So what you do is you attack with Uta, you do ramp, like you trash any other film card you probably have. And then you play out Ein. So what happened there? So we have 4 Dawn, and then you ramped with Uta, so you're at 5 Dawn. And then you ramped with Ein, and you're at 6 Dawn. All the while, your opponent is at 6 Dawn, I believe. Because if they go first, you're second, third, fourth. So they're actually at 5 Dawn. They're actually at 5 Dawn, and we're at 8 Dawn. So that's already crazy. So like so anything they play on their 5 Dawn turn, this guy just pops. Unless it's a vanilla, which I'll be honest, no one's playing a vanilla. At least in 09, no one's playing vanilla. This guy's gonna pop. Any 5 cost character, this guy will get rid of. On your 8 Dawn turn, you are likely gonna play this card. Just because, and that's why it's important to get this card in your hand. Because on turn 3, we're already at 8 Dawn. So we're clearing board and we're establishing a 7k body. Pretty nutty. And honestly, like, if they have, actually, since we're at our 8 Dawn turn, you can actually play Otama and then play this guy. I mean, I'm antsy on giving up the 2k, but still, like, if they play like a big body somehow, like, you can still get rid of it with these 2 cards, which is insane. And then honestly, from there, you're just popping their board. You pop them with Shanks, you lower the cost of Shanks and then pop them. You are probably never gonna see this card, but it's funny when it happens. And honestly, that's really what it is. Like, the only sort of tech in this deck is the Giltasoro because you just fish back. It's sort of like a stall move at this point because you could get your Shiki back, and you can either get a searcher back or a bark or a blocker, and then you're just stalling. But what's important is to get this card and kind of this card, but this card you can get off of Bonifesta and Uta. But Shanks, Rush Shanks and Beckman, these are the two cards you want. This is your hyper ramp, and then this is your sort of end game. Because at the end of the game, they ideally have no board, and you're just popping their shit with Beckman and rushing into them with Shanks. I will say you don't mind going down to 2 life because I mean hand size is going to be scarce all the time with Uta because you are trashing for leader's effect. But at the same time, what I've noticed during my games on the sim, this card has always been in life. That's obviously not how it's going to be in person, and that's obviously not how it's going to be on the sim. But that's just my experience. This card is always in life, and I don't know why. Anyway, guys, so let's go to our matches. We got an RP Luffy, a Shanks, and a purple black Luffy. So again, all decks I think do super well in 09. And Uta just beats them, which is pretty funny to me. So I'm glad for you guys to see it. Let's go to the matches. Okay, so we're gonna go second here first. Again, we want to go second all the time. We got 2 Bonifesta searchers and an Uta searcher, so we're kind of sitting easy. Ideally, we get an Ein here. Unfortunately, no Ein. We're gonna search the Uta. We search backwards. That is why I don't like running 2 searchers, but in this deck you kind of have to, just because this card is way too important to not have, and Beckman as well, I guess. We're going to take the 6k swing. We're not really afraid to go down to 2 life. With Shanks, it's the same idea as I said before. We don't want to pass 3 life too early, just because they are going to be playing a lot of bodies. Anyway, so we're going to be doing like the Uta swing, ramp, and then we don't care if we don't get hidden. We ramp anyways, and then we play out the Ein. We get a 0 cost event, which is okay. We're not going to use it right now. We're going to use that a little later, maybe. But here, look at the board right now. We have an Ein on the board. We're at 8 Dawn. We pop their Yasop, so they just have nothing. Then we just do a 6k swing. They can do minus effect. We don't care. We're building our board for later in the game, and he has no board right now. He can play Beckman, but that's not going to do anything aside get rid of the Ein. We are going down a lot in life, which is a little scary, but at the same time, I don't want to give up too much counter yet. I imagine I start to defend this last life pretty well, because we are just going to be clearing off his board. Realistically, the only way he could attack us is rush, is leader and rush. So we can protect a leader swing, and rush I think we just take. So we're just going to be doing swings into leader now, with our bodies on board. Okay, maybe he doesn't have any top end. Yeah, he probably doesn't have top end because he's using red force. He's gonna play out the Beckman. Yep, to get rid of our Beckman. Again, that a lot of Shanks have been using that stage. I think it's a really good stage. But now we start to defend our last life. We do so if we play the 10 Shanks, and the Beckman swings, because I imagine he's going to want to start to put on his 10 cost Shanks of his own. So he's not going to add Dawn onto Beckman or leader. And we have enough Dawn to protect those. I don't think we mind the leader swing just because we have a life. And by the end of next round, just because we have the Rush Rogers, see, like, we're hitting big, he's taking life. By the end of next round, we probably have game because we have 4 decent swings. We have 2 5s, 2 12s, and a 13k. So he's gonna play that. Go into our Shanks for some reason. I guess he wants to get rid of board. That's fine. Yeah, he's trying to get rid of board. But at that point, it's too late. We have enough counter to defend board. He has no plays. He does stage. I guess to get rid of Ein. Sure, you deserve that, I guess. We get another 10 Shanks. So we have We have potentially three 12Ks, or if we want to play the Roger, a 13K for some reason. We're gonna attack into lead. I imagine we attack into lead first, just to get rid of his leader effect. Okay, then we just swing into leader, 11K. Come on, Shanks, take it. Another 11K, and then we play Gold Rogers for 12K, and then just bang. That's it. That's the game. Or let's see. Yep, that's the game. So, okay, so this is why... Okay, he only had one counter. Which is strange. I would have actually countered out of the Uta swing. And then, I guess he didn't have counter for the other swings, but he could have countered out before. But, like, you could see the idea with this deck. Just hyper ramp with Ein, and then just play your big bodies, and then just swing. It's kind of free after that point, which is why I super love this deck. It's really fun. Okay, so let's go to the next game. Okay, so we're in the next game. It's gonna be against an RP Luffy, which I think is a more interesting matchup. It's the same idea here. We have the 10 Shanks, so I am debating whether or not I want to actually mull. I do decide to mull because I do want the Ein. The Ein is kind of important. Unfortunately, we don't get the Ein, which is bound to happen, I'll admit. But we do get some of our top end, so we know what we're doing, at least. Because we're going to swing in AK, and again, we're not really using Douglas Bullet, so we're just going to trash him. Just ramp up one. Fingers crossed for an Ein next turn. Because this is the issue we're in right now. If we're going first, and we don't... If we're going first, we can't play out the Ein, and we can't play out Beckman, because we're technically at 6 Dawn. So, it kind of sucks. And I want to get rid of that Zorojuro, but I just can't. So what we're going to do, let's see, I think we're just going to play out a blocker. Like we're going to play out the Shiki or the Barcat. I imagine Barcat, Baccarat. Just because it's stronger into this matchup just because I get a free 2K and his leader is at 6K already. So it is kind of rough. So the Baccarat really helps. Just because we're guaranteed a 2K every single turn, just in case he empty swings. The Zorojuro is going to prove its value here, just because it's just a lot of ramp. I think he like double ramps in this, because he ramps off the Zorojuro. I think we take this life. I don't think he's going to play out any rushes just yet. So, come on, Tomoe. Oh, we're reading, we're thinking. Oh, we are okay, we are countering. We are countering. Okay. So he's gonna play... Okay, so another ramp, the event to ramp. I'm not sure what that event does. I haven't seen this deck. We take that life, so we can pop the Zorojuro now, or we can pop the Nami. I'd rather... It does feel kind of weird, but I do rather pop... 3 Beckman, that kind of sucks. That's where all they went. But it feels weird to pop down a 2K, but it does open up the Zorojuro. We don't want to swing in with the Baccarat. Honestly, we just swing in with leader, and we do have an option. No, we don't have an option to ramp just because there's no film cards, which again sucks. Unless I want to trash the Shanks, which is an issue. But how much Dawn is he at? It looks like he's at 8 Dawn, so he can play Nika. So we're not gonna ramp, just because I'm not. This is a weird position when you're going first, just because you're kind of off your curve and you're not playing out your 10 drops. Even so, I still think he feels pretty pressured to still build a board with defenders. Yeah, see, he's not committing to the he's not committing just yet to the Nika, just because it is still dangerous. So we're gonna trash a Beckman just for counter. I imagine he 9 Nikas here, or not Nika, he just 9 Luffys. Just because it's a rush. If he does play out that rush, we just either take it or block. He's going to swing with leader, and he's going to swing with maybe 9 Luffy. So we're going to take one and block the other, I imagine. Or we don't... Actually, now I think about it, we probably don't need to. Oh, Newgate. Okay. Newgate's even better because we get value out of our Shanks. This I actually don't care. I don't think we care if we block. No, we do care if we block. We want to... Oh, this is actually hard. This is hard. What do I do? So we just take the life. That's fine. It is a little rough because we're not going to kill him this turn. We don't have the board for it. Most likely we're going to be popping his Nuke with Shanks and then just going after the Zoro. We do want to keep our blocker up just because Nika is always going to be a threat, like in my mind at least. So we don't want to play down our 10 Shanks a little too early. Again, ideally he's already out on the board, but going first kind of does suck into... It kind of just sucks with Uta. So we want to try and get rid of the Zoro. So we do have 2 swings to get rid of the Juro. So let's see if we can melt his hand a little. We either swing at Juro with Uta first to get a counter out of his hand, or just swing with Beckman. So we're gonna pop the, or we could do that first. So if he takes this, we're just gonna swing into life. So he doesn't take life. I'll be honest, I'm not too sure why. He does play out Nika. We do have a swing. So we're going to take another turn. So we defend this all the time. Because he's going to have 2 more swings after this. He's going to swing with leader and then Nika. So we need our blocker up for at least one. So the right move here is to just trash our entire hand. Either way, if we're trashing card... I mean, I guess we could save a card. We could save a card with Baccarat because we get a 2k and then trash a 1k. Or, that's why I said oops too, but honestly it doesn't matter at that point. He's going to go again. He's going to swing with leader first, as you always do. Yeah, so we take this life, and then we just block out the other. Yeah, so take the life. There you go, it's an Otama. I would have liked that 2k before. We just block out of that one, and then we just win after this. Just because he has nothing on board. We have a Shanks on board, which is sort of our trump card. And we have 2 ramps in hand, so pretty rough for the RP Luffy. Look at all the counter he had in hand. All these are 1Ks. That's kind of rough. But then again, it is kind of rough going... it's a little rough going first with Uta, but it is doable. It is doable. RP Luffy is always going to be a menace just because it's a 6k leader, not a 5k leader, and he has access to Nika. So, a little harder matchup in my opinion, but it is still doable. Yeah, so let's go into the next game. Okay, so our last round of the day, Purple Black Luffy. I don't know why I keep running into this guy on the sim. So again, we have a lot of searchers, which is pretty good. We get a Rogers off of top decking. So we're going to get our Shanks, and we're going to get, unfortunately not an Iron, but we will take another Shanks. A lot of people have been trying to cook with Purple Black Luffy. It's a great leader effect, but it is also hard to get a setup. Unfortunately, no Ein. Unfortunately, no Ein again. But that's fine. We're just going to play out the Baccarat. Trash the Uta for ramp. We're not going to be searching anymore. We have at least 1 Shanks, and we can define a board like that. I'll be honest, I think I forgot to turn off my mic while recording this one. So, pardon me if you hear any weird background music or noise. This one, I don't mind taking, just because, again, he's not going to be playing big bodies all that fast. It's going to ramp up at the end, but we're gonna see some fun stuff happen. We popped the Frankie with the Beckman, and we're gonna ramp again just because. So normally I wouldn't double ramp, but because I have no other options, like my hand is literally just starting hand and top end. So I want to get to top end as soon as possible. We already have a blocker on the field, so we don't mind trashing this blocker. And then next turn, we're at 8 done, I believe. Yes, we're at 8. We can pop whatever he puts on the board. That's actually what I imagine we do. Or we have the option of the 10 Shanks. We're not playing the Roger just yet. I'll be honest, I don't think we do. I was really trying hard to use this Rogers, because I want to use his effect at least once in this video. About Rogers, he does feel a little weird to use because you kind of want to bluff him, because you don't want to go to zero life too early, because if you go to zero life too early, he'll just take the life from Rogers. He won't block. So that's pretty easy. We get 2 Rogers for some reason. Honestly, that would have been a great card to trash off of Baccarat for the +2, but obviously we didn't know we were going to top deck him. So here I'm debating whether I should use the Shanks on the Frankie, because that does sort of feel like a waste. I could see myself going either way, popping the Shanks or just going Rush, because Rush does apply pressure in the future. Okay, so I just skipped a bit there because me and my sister were talking. But just to show you what happened, we attacked with Uta. He just countered out. Nothing too special. We attack with Beckman. He does his counter out with his event. He gets cards. That is a little bit of a worry. But at the same time, we're still getting rid of that counter. So that counter that would have been used on the Shanks is being used on the Beckman. We would have liked to take more life, but that's fine. We're preparing his hand for later in the game. He plays out 2 blockers because he just doesn't have a play. That is okay to me. I don't think we take this. We don't take it. We don't want to go down to 1 life. And finally we get our Ein. That's fine again. We just play out our Shanks. And then just wildly swing. He probably does have another of that 1-cost event that gives him plus 4k. He's probably going to use that on Beckman, which is okay. He's gonna burn a blocker, which I would do as well. Take 1 life, then burn a blocker. Attack into leader. There's nothing we can really do. He has the event. Or does he? He's taking a long time. I'm guessing he is debating whether he wants to use the event. I'm guessing no. He wants to use it for this last turn because he sees our board. He doesn't want to block either because he's going to need to counter out. I forgot. Shanks does the minus 1k. And then it's just his turn. So let's see what he does. He plays out the Luffy. He's probably trying to go for leader or Beckman. Those are the only 2 swings he has. I'd go for the Beckman. Yeah, so leader into leader, that's fine. Oh, and this trigger is insane. So oddly enough, we rarely use this trigger, but this specific situation, because I know he's gonna go after Beckman. Like Beckman is 7k, Luffy is now a 6k. So that's rough. I imagine he only goes into leader now. And honestly, at this point, we don't mind taking it. We don't mind taking it or countering out. It doesn't matter. We kind of got the GGs already. So like here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna attack first, see if he blocks. This is when I was trying to do the Rogers play. Just see if he blocks, see if he doesn't, then play our Rogers. And then that's game. That's it. That trigger was kind of insane. He actually might have the counter. He doesn't. Yeah, this guy was playing with Stussy. That's weird to me. That's weird to me. Stussy might work in this deck. I don't think it does, just because you'd rather play 9 Luffy, Moria, or just prep for Luffy here. But yeah, like as you can see, like our end game looks the same. Like our end game in this game and the Shanks game, the purple red Luffy, that's kind of a special situation just because we just had no top end in our hand. But our end game probably looks like this all the time. Like we have a Beckman on field, 2 or 3 Shanks, a Roger because we're nice, and then like a random searcher. This is more than likely how your end game is gonna look like almost all the time. But yeah, this is a super fun deck. I'll explain everything in the outro. So yeah, that's my RP Uta deck. I will be honest, it could be better just because all the cards for Red Hair Pirates aren't out. The issue is I just can't imagine what Red Hair Pirates cards I would add, just because I want most of my deck to be filmed for leader effect. But you see the power here. You see the power here. Just hyper ramping with Ein. I was actually thinking of adding Bond Clay. It isn't a ramp card, but it's not ramp and it's not searchable, which sucks. But it is another ramp card for the hyper ramp idea. I'm not too familiar with the film engine, So I'm not sure if there's another film card that ramps for you. Let me know if there is. I'm just not sure if there is one. But Ein kind of makes this deck kind of nasty. You saw that in the first game with Shanks. But unfortunately not the other two. And honestly, that's how it is sometimes. Which is why you want to find this card off your Benefesta search or just your mulligan. Your mull wants to be Beckman, Ein, Shanks, or at least one of these two searchers. So that's how it is. I think this deck is super fun. Once O9 comes out in the West, I'm probably going to be playing this and Robin. Nothing else, just these two decks. This deck and Robin is way too much fun. So yeah, you can expect me to play more of these. If you guys want another gameplay video with Uta, maybe to show off the Rogers or the Ein, please let me know. But yeah, just more fun off meta decks. If you guys enjoyed this, please leave a like or comment if you had any questions. And yeah, stick around if you want to see more. I'll see you later. Bye.